She looked me in the eye and said, "Maybe I'm just not the woman you married anymore." So I walked out, and she didn't even ask where I was going. My name is Ethan, and I never thought I'd be telling this story. There was a time, not so long ago, when I thought I had everything I needed. A modest life, a loving wife, a future that looked warm and steady. When I first met Clara, she had this energy that pulled you in without even trying. She walked into a room and everyone's posture changed. Not because she demanded it, but because her presence carried a quiet command. She wore a navy sundress the first time I saw her, standing outside a food truck, arguing with a stranger about whether or not ketchup belonged on hot dogs. Her conviction was hilarious and irresistible. I remember thinking right then, I want to be around her. Back then, I ran a small mechanic shop. Nothing glamorous, just honest work that paid the bills. My days were greasy, my hands calloused, but my heart was always full when I got home. Clara said I made her feel safe. That word stayed with me. Safe. Like I was a place she could rest in. And that meant everything. The early years were something out of a storybook. We danced in the kitchen. We shared inside jokes beneath the sheets. We dreamed about a house in the woods, maybe a couple of kids. We didn't have much, but we had each other. But as life often does, it got complicated. Clara's job at the firm took over. Late nights became a routine. Weekend hikes turned into her catching up on emails. The woman who once lit up over the smell of farmers' markets now didn't even look up from her phone at dinner. I kept telling myself it was just a phase, that she'd come back. I took on more chores, left love notes, bought her favorite wine even if it sat unopened. I was trying. I loved her, and I thought if I loved her hard enough, maybe it would be enough. But it wasn't. Slowly, she started drifting. She pulled away from my touch. She flinched when I kissed her. She stopped holding my hand during walks. One night, I tried to make her laugh, tugged playfully on her sleeve while we watched TV, and she just said, "Ethan, not now. I'm trying to focus." But she wasn't working. She was just scrolling Instagram. That moment didn't explode. It just cracked something inside me. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling fan. Listening to it were like a slow clock ticking down on us. I remember thinking, when did this happen? When did her silence get louder than her laughter? I tried to talk to her gently, asked, "Are we okay?" She sighed and said, "You always take things so personally." Maybe I did. But how could I not when the woman who once traced her fingers down my back now recoiled from my hand? We didn't fight. That was the worst part. There was no fire, just stillness, quiet fade. A kind of emotional starvation where you're still technically married, but not really living together. I held on anyway, because that's what you do. Or at least that's what I thought you were supposed to do. I told myself every couple has rough patches, that maybe this was ours. 6 months after that couch moment, I booked a weekend trip, just a small cabin in the hills. No Wi-Fi, just us. I thought if we could get away from the noise, maybe we could find our way back. When I told her, she looked unimpressed. "There's no Wi-Fi?" she asked, as if I'd suggested camping in a bare Denver. "That's the point," I said. She gave a tight smile. "Sure. Sounds peaceful." The cabin was everything I hoped it would be. Old wood floors, a tiny fireplace, worn furniture that felt lived in. But Clara felt out of place there. She spent most of that first evening wandering around with her phone, desperately holding it in the air as if she could pull a signal out of the trees. I made dinner. She ate quietly. No conversation. No laughter. That night, I reached out to hold her. Nothing more. Just hold her. She stiffened. Then she whispered, "Ethan, please." It wasn't pleading. It was final. A wall. A line I wasn't welcome to cross. I rolled over and stared at the ceiling. I didn't say anything. I didn't cry. I just let the stillness settle in like dust. After that weekend, I stopped trying. Not out of anger. Just emptiness. I still made her coffee. Still fixed that loose porch step. Still paid the bills. But emotionally, I was already gone. That's what happens when love dies quietly. You start performing marriage like a checklist. There's no passion, no warmth, just a list of duties. Then came the Tuesday that changed everything. I got off work early, picked up her favorite Thai food. I thought maybe we could eat on the porch. Try again. When I pulled into the driveway, I saw her sitting in the backyard, headphones in, laughing at something on her phone. That laugh, I hadn't heard it in so long, and it wasn't for me. I watched her for a minute. She didn't notice me. Finally, she looked up, pulled one earbud out, and asked, "Is something wrong?" I tried to keep it calm. I said, "Yeah, I think we are." She rolled her eyes. "Ethan, if this is another one of your deep talks, I don't have the energy." That hit me like a wave. Like wanting connection made me a burden. I didn't get angry. I just said, "I feel invisible in this marriage. I don't feel loved." She blinked, then shrugged. Just a shrug. Like I told her we ran out of coffee. Maybe I'm just not the woman you married anymore. People change. And that was it. That was the moment I let go. I packed a small bag. She didn't ask where I was going. Didn't stop me. I walked out. The hallway light was flickering. I'd meant to fix it for weeks. Funny what you leave behind. I slept at my brother's house that night. The couch was lumpy. The room smelled like cat litter. But there was peace in not waiting for someone to turn toward me. Peace in not being ignored. 2 days later, her cousin Abby called. One of the few people in Clara's life I actually liked. She said, "I know it's not my place, but I just want you to know this isn't your fault. I've watched this for years. Clara said you were too sensitive, that she needed more excitement. Stability bored her." I didn't react. I just sat there, because it wasn't news. It was just the first time someone else said it out loud. That's when it hit me. Clara hadn't left me. She just stayed long after she stopped loving me. Let me beg in silence. Let me love her alone. There was no affair, no scandal, just 1,000 tiny acts of neglect until I was just a shadow in our home. People ask me what made me leave, but there wasn't one thing. It was years of being the only one who tried. Years of loving someone who stopped reaching back. I didn't leave because I stopped loving her. I left because she did, and I finally stopped asking her to care. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've ever felt invisible in love, know that you're not alone. Sometimes walking away isn't giving up. It's choosing yourself. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real stories that hit home.